We did that one. Oopsie. Wrong. Gotta change it out. Yeah, that's some weird shit. I'm gonna deal with them about that in due time. Let's go to. Okay, let's see. Testing. Okay. This is not an official teaching or reading. At least I don't think it is. Because if you're new to me, what you need to know is that I am not scripted. Okay. I don't have a script. I don't rehearse for hours and then come on here and present to you all. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just that that's not my style. Okay. I'm not scripted. So things are subject to change in real time with someone like me. So coming in, this is meant to be kind of hee hee ha ha, me sharing something that happened, and I may very well end up tying it into maybe some kind of a collective message about what happened on paths such as like my own and many others that are on similar paths when you are caught in a cult situation or you're surrounded by cult members unbeknownst to you, where you have been targeted and trafficked and, singled out by communities, cities, locations, organizations, families, people, places, whatever. Okay. The reason being social media, secret, swim fan, stalker, haters, to everything in between. Okay. When you really start to allow reality to set in about what you are surrounded by, what your air, what the environment is, you do get to a point. It's not so much pessimism as one would think. Okay. So I had a situation that happened. This was yesterday, and I ended up laughing at it later. I laughed at it later in the night once I reflected and realized what was going on. So I went to the store, Market Basket, over by Circle K, Old Allen Road, and I forget the other cross street by the freeway there. Okay. I went to that Market Basket, okay, last night. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And but I already had a mindset. I was already in the vein of, as I was walking, since I know what I'm dealing with, the reality has set in for me. So I was already in the zone of fuck everything and everybody. I ain't talking to them now. I'm not fuck around here. Don't come at me. Don't say hi. Don't. I don't need compliments, bitch. I don't need. You know what I'm saying? Because once you realize what these people's strategies are, okay, and who they're using and all these various angles they keep trying to come at you with, you write everybody off because everybody is basically subject to be a part of the bullshit, especially if you are in a small town. In a larger setting, this may be, it can still be done, but maybe not as concentrated. If you are in a smaller town, in a small area, this is highly likely. It's not unusual. It is highly likely. Okay. Because if the folks who don't like you are connected to a whole lot of folks, do you see how this works? Okay. So it's real easy to understand how that's a possibility. Okay. Now, so once you accept it, you do is, like I said, this is not pessimism, it's realism. Because if the current environment, the current location, the current environment is infested with people who don't like you because of the power that be that don't like you for whatever the reasons in which they do not, whether they're valid or not, okay, has created a campaign to be a terrorist via swinging from passive aggressive methods, from the anger, derision, hostile, icy glares and stares and mockery and all that stuff, to fake nice and compliments in order to get into your energy space. Okay. Now, what ended up happening is as I was going into Market Basket, I wouldn't even listen or focus. Okay. I had my eyeglasses on, I had shades on at night. And you know why I did that? Because my eyes are a portal. I remembered something that had happened to me in Nevada. This person basically intruded my energy. I was sitting down at where me and my son was staying and outside because I like nature. And this person like was driving through the driving parking structure, and then they circled back, and then like they kept trying to talk to me, and I didn't want to talk to them. They ended up, I think they got out the car and they came literally and said, like they basically forced. You see what I'm saying? This is some of the shit that these trashy motherfuckers do. They they forced an interaction. They forced me to what have to visual. My eyes are a portal. Also, I'm aware on a higher scale of what I'll just say this. I know what they do and what they try to gauge with the eyes. You know what prompted me to do that? I know I'm a little off track, but I'm gonna give y'all the clue of what prompted me to do that. I had another experience a few days, you know, a few days prior. Another experience where I had met somebody and they didn't have on glasses, okay? And it was that the vibe was a different vibe. It was a different feel. It was a different vibration. I saw them later within a few days, I think, or so. They had on glasses. Now, both settings was daytime. Both incidences there was sunshine. Just so y'all would know, because somebody may say, "Well, no, it was kind of the same conditions." Okay. Now, that time when they had the glasses, their energy was off. There was something off about the whole thing. And the thing about me is, as Osiris, raise up, bruh, with the nails. Mama gotta clip him nails it. Yes, you want PA? Okay, anyway, there was something off. The first meeting, there was something off in a sense of a male never really shakes a woman's hand really strongly. Okay, because that's what you do on interviews, and you're trying to show that you're confident, and all that kind of shit. But you're not gonna have a male shake a woman's hand, um, hard, like strongly. Okay, there was something about that wasn't right, that wasn't correct. But I blinked at it for shits and giggles. Okay, but I did recognize immediately. Just because I don't always say or do anything, people gonna learn this about me eventually. Sorry for interrupt. Are you gonna pick Russell or are you gonna get the rest of the water? You can have. Let me see. Let me just have. I'm gonna get some more of this here. This kind. This is a good kind. Thank you. Uh huh. Uh huh. Oh my gosh. Anyway. So okay, I let stuff slide. I put judgment on things immediately, and once based on the energy of the person. Okay, that's my safety proof. Okay, because I can be wrong. I'm not, you know, I can be wrong. So I always have that in the forefront of my heart and mind. Like you can misjudge something, Brady. So I put a kind of a clause in there. But if I'm correct, unfortunately, in the incidences in which I am correct, judgment is immediately activated. If somebody is coming, doing something, some shady, they gonna deal with it one way or the other. They will at some point, okay? Because it's about their intentions, their motives. It's about who sent them. It's about everything. It's not about they played nice. It's about who sent you. It's about what was your true motivation and intent, period. And that's what you're going to get dealt with for. So now, like I said, it was something off about that. And I did something with my hands later because of it. Because I was like, what was that? Supposed to put a spell on me? What was that? Because that's an energy exchange. So, what was that? People need to quit. They really do. What was that to put some kind of curse to afflict? These are the same type of people that be talking about God all day. That's why I am who I am today. And I do not pay attention to the shit that come out of people's mouths. Because one of the strategies is that, like I said, the isolation between derision and mockery and rude behavior of people and hatred and icy glares and stares and the hee-hees and all the little trashy inbred shit to fake relating, fake empathy, fake compassion, fake, you know, flatteries and oh, they're probably lonely. Let's send somebody. I've been saying it. I was like, they better fucking amp up their goddamn. Okay. Oh. So now let's get to what happened. The part that I'm laughing about because I'm trying to tie in the whole shit because it's something that's actually it is funny, believe it or not. Okay. So because I laughed, I ended up laughing later. So I was on a mission. I was like, I am the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight. It's a dinner some with my rivals. I am the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight. So that's I was on a mission. That's a shame that going to the store has to turn into something like that. But when you are, that's your reality. Is your reality until it's not. Okay. So I was just focused. In other words, I wasn't gonna talk to nobody. I don't care. I don't want nothing. I'm not gonna ask for no ride. I don't want no. I don't need no compliments, bitch. I want nothing. Because again, for someone like me, cars are swarming and they're driving like maniacs. They're doing the psychological warfare tactics. We're gonna surround you. We're gonna triangle, diagonal, crazy military style driving no one else knows about, and so it just looks like we're just random people. Like we're gonna do. So I made my intention that I wasn't gonna look at all of that. I wasn't gonna care. I wasn't gonna. I was already prepared. I had on gloves, had my mouth covered because I'm starting. I'm gonna purchase some masks. That's where I'm at. These people nuts. They done lost it. I'm gonna get me and my son some masks. We finna wear a mask in this bitch again. Old school. I show him till I get us the hell up away from him. So I kept walking. I didn't pay attention to the cars. I actually paid more attention to the trees and nature. Um, Made it a point to do that. As I got approached to the store, I was making attention because they already coming. They already you can. I saw all these snaky asses. I laughed even then because I saw it. I mean, it's like this shit is so obvious it don't make no sense no more to me. That's how obvious it is. That's how bad they are at their job. So I laughed. I stopped. I looked. I was like, look at him. Look at him. I stood back far across the street. I was like, look at it. They hearing up. Look at him. Stop. They got that looking at. They on that stuff. They on that stuff. Look at him. Smiled and I kept going. As I walked, soon as I got on the park instructor and I walked into the store, there was a gentleman like to the right of me was trying to get my attention that was outside and I wouldn't I made it I had my earbuds on number one. I had some frequencies going on. I think I had my earbuds on. But I made an intention, like I don't want to talk. There's nothing here that I want to talk to. I was like, nope, I haven't. There's nothing. Nope, I don't. Nope, nope. Don't need no conversation. I'm not that lonely. And even in loneliness, I still don't want nothing here. I don't want because people are sellouts. It's a common thing. Everybody want to be a star. Everybody clout chasing and trying to. Yeah. I don't have time for that. So I was like, no, I wouldn't even look. I kept my head straight. I wouldn't even turn. I'm not gonna. Nope, nope. And it was not even. It's for me. It's not even about being rude. For me, it's about my politeness is what they're exploiting, and I'm gonna make them wish they didn't. That's what the fuck that is. So I wouldn't look. He was knocking. Like he was like, I heard him too, but I still kept walking. Ma'am, ma'am, blah, blah, blah. I would not. I just kept walking fast. And went in the store and was trying to do my shopping. And it was already a good six of their asses already up in the bitch. Okay. So, and then some came a little bit after. And I identified every last one of them, by the way. So, next thing I knew, as I was walking around in the store, as I was walking around in the store, here comes the guy. He kept trying to he was and then he's like follow me in through the store. Y'all I ain't lying. Now if they have cameras going on then this shit should be on camera because he followed me around in the store because I wouldn't look at him, I wouldn't talk, I wouldn't address, I wouldn't stop, I wouldn't engage because I didn't want to. And we don't have to. You see how a lot of this fuckery try to make you feel some kind, and you don't have to, because it's the politeness that they exploit. When you know that you have been surrounded by a situation and targeted, when you start letting the reality sit in about that's the fuck what the motherfuckers is on, then you lose interest with fake nice. When that's something that's being used to get to your energy. He followed me through the stove, like all up on me, kind of. Not even at a social distance, like social distance. Not even that. He was crossing. He he crossed boundaries. He was all up on oh blue me blow. See that entitlement though? That somebody has to talk to you. Somebody has to stop because you decide that you want to say something that someone has. If somebody ignore me, my happy ass, I'm gonna take my little happy ass on. My happy ass is gonna say, so then they don't want to talk to me. I'm not gonna do that. Especially if it's somebody I don't know. Like that's not some like they don't want to talk. Okay, like whatever. He ended up throwing. Now this was kind of tricky. I didn't even realize this happened until later because I was like, I'm not doing this. You're not gonna force me to talk to you. You can call me queen. You can call me goddess. You can call me Nefertiri. You can call me all the things, in which I probably am. But if I don't have to acknowledge or speak to anyone I don't want to. I don't have to engage with nicety so people can create a frequency thread with me. So they can have the privilege of my fucking essence. He threw something in my basket. When I say he got up on me, I mean that. I'm not even exaggerating. That's what happened. He followed me through the store because I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't exchange. I guess that was their attempt to amp up their strategy because I said they needed to, if they wanted to affect my confidence, that they needed to amp up, you know. So he threw a rose, a long stem rose. It was a red long stem rose. He put in my basket with money. Did you hear that? Did you hear me? He put money in the basket. He put money in the basket. He put rose and money in the basket. Cash. I didn't know. That's see, ain't that weird? I didn't know until I left. I didn't recognize it until it was time for me to leave the store. I saw the rose. Let me take that back. I did see the rose, and I took it out because I didn't want it. I didn't want the rose. Somebody's like, damn. You know why? Because again, not every gift is a gift. I know once upon a time that have been like, ah, but like I said, once you have been in an environment where you have been targeted and these types of things have been used against you to get to you, it doesn't hold the same value it once upon a time did. I didn't want it. I didn't want it. While I was in the store, I didn't even care I didn't care. I just didn't. No, thank you. I don't want. There's nothing that have shown me in this experience that rings sincere, authentic, loving, or kind. All of the kindnesses, with the exception of two, and even that, I'm not gonna get too deep into that because that that's separate from a whole lot of things. But mm-mm. So I don't want it. I don't want the fake flattery and the fake kindness and the fake I can relate to you. I'm not that lonely. In my loneliness, I know how to deal with it another way. I'd rather be lonely than to deal with a poisonous, venomous motherfucker. Someone who's jealous and secret competition with you and working with your wannabe or stalker, copycat, or doppelganger motherfuckers. I don't need it. And they certainly ain't gonna break my confidence. You gotta amp up the game way beyond what's hell to fuck with that. Working with my subconscious too much for that at this point. At this point, I'm working with my things. Yeah, the stuff that they're aware of in my akasha and my subconscious, but I too am aware of it. So I put the rolls down. I was like, I don't want it. Boom, he put it in. I threw it out. Because at this point, listen, I don't even know, just to be fair, I don't know the difference because of the environment and the situation. I I don't know the difference between people who they see me on social media and they're in this area and they are becoming the swim fans, because that happens. I don't know why people think you don't have to be rich, you don't have to be Beyonce, Jay Z, and and Kevin Hart and bitch, all the motherfuckers. You don't have to be. Yeah, I know I'm hitting a nerve with that. I know, good, because I'm really disappointed. That's another video because I'm like I'm disappointed with Hollywood. I'm really disappointed, you know, with some of the famous people that I once upon a time had fondness for. I'm disappointed because they turn out to be like just like everybody else. They let me put it this way. They allow themselves to become just like everyone else, even if once upon a time when they came in the game they were still legit motherfuckers, and then they get bit by the monsters and they are never the same again. They're never the same. It becomes about preservation of image, money, and resources. Their consciousness was flushed down the toilet when they signed the contract. Somebody says she's smoking. I don't smoke, but I do smoke. Um, I do light up like cinnamon sticks because I don't smoke or drink. By the way, that wasn't my journey. My craziness was in other areas. Wasn't the drug and alcohol. My crazy is another shit. My crazy whack ass behaviors with other areas of life. Um, Anywho, I put the rolls back and I kept, and as I left, this is when I discovered that the person had put money in the basket because I didn't see that. Okay, because I'm like, well, why did they want to give me a rose and put money in the basket? But see, you all have to listen. Just follow me, okay? I'm not trying to make y'all Debbie Downers and gloomy gloomins and pessimistic Paul or whatever, all things being equal, case by case basis. Okay, if that's the current environment and situation, okay, scarcity tactics are used so that the person is in some form of scarcity and they call it honeypot. Okay, so a honeypot is not always romantic necessarily. It's not always about trying to soothe and seduce somebody into bed. A honeypot is just someone appearing to be kind and appearing to be kind when you're surrounded by harshness, or appearing to, be a soothing salve of your situation, appearing to be an answer to your prayer. Often is used just to get information and access, so they can take a picture of you, so that they can get in your energy, so that they can sow certain seeds, subliminal seeds. There's not going to be obvious seeds, because if you're working on yourself, just you're going to pick up on it. Your subconscious, your team is going to be like, yeah, they trying to trigger this. See that? But it came with a gift. It came with, I'll give you a ride. It came with, here is a rose for a rose, your majesty, your highness, and all of that shit. It came, it came with, how they say not all money is good money? It's like, I'm going to purify. I have a maybe I shouldn't give that secret away. I think I'm going to keep that secret because that's an inside thing. I'm going to keep that one. There's something that I do with money exchange. Let's just say that. Because again, they're coming so that they can, put some energy on shit. So that's why I do shit with the shit I get. Oh, it's a standard of life for me at this point because I know what I'm dealing with, which includes phone calls. Like, I'm dealing with everything like that. I have accepted that everything that I may attempt to do within this state and in this area, chances are it is contaminated. I'm fully and keenly aware of that. And when I start sensing offness on a phone call, I put something in place. When I sense that there's somebody that tapped onto the line, when I sense that the conversation is some kind of way, I immediately put something in place. And even though you all are looking at something that talks about action speaking louder than words, I want to add to a layer of that, because actions could be deceptional, full of deception. Somebody appearing to give me a rose and putting money in a basket has an action connotation of kindness. It has an undertone. Everyone right away, left away, in the now will assume and will agree that someone that's giving someone a rose and putting money in a basket, surely they must have kind intentions. Surely they must be operating from a good space in their heart. Surely they must be, coming from a benevolence, because who does that? Who goes out of their way to give a beautiful long stem red rose and money to someone, a stranger? Who does that? She's paranoid. That's most humans' default setting because there's no depth. She's paranoid. That was a kind gesture. All I'm simply saying is there's an assumption that it's a kind gesture because of the action. But I've had people over the years, from family to lovers and everything in between, appearing to extend a helping hand. And it was a trap to hurt me and my son. It was a trap to steal from us, to get information, to have access to our energy, to do other weird and baneful things. See how that went? You see how we have to catch up and not take things at face value. At face value, I've had people give me money, but it has something else attached to it. And people want to buy stuff for me, but it could have had so that they can have a record of what it is that you buy, so they can report that. If someone pays for something on anything digital nowadays, well, they're going to have a record or a list of those things because it was on their accounts, no? So let's end this here. I found that to be funny. I laughed. I was like, oh gosh, he put bunny in a basket and a rose, child. At this point, the only thing that I care about is me and my son and our cat's health and well-being and our safety. And that's as simple as that. That is my highlighted number one all-consuming focus is getting things in order for him the best that I can, considering the interferences and things that they're doing, the legalities, getting those things in order, remedying these things to the best of my ability, um, trying to keep him as safe as I can anyway, considering the situation to the extent in which I can. Um, uh, Working with all of the things that's going on with him at the same time. My only focus at this point in this environment, now this is going to shift, but in this environment is simply health and well being, safety, and security for my son and me, and navigating us properly, healthily, and safely through this shit. I don't care about compliments and I'm not trying. I'm past all that. I'm not interested in any kind of overly, I'm not dealing with nothing that's not grounded and practical. Okay. I don't need fake philanthropists in my energy, fake defenders of those that are bullied and abused. I don't need them either because more often than not, a lot of them are defending the bullies. If people don't have real empathy and compassion for my son and me that I can sense and feel, and that is followed by words and actions consistently enough that jives, not this all spotty behavior. look at they boo boo, they boo boo. Look at they pumpkin. Oh, pumpkin. Look at mama's baby. Oh, she's a boo boo. Mama gonna keen the energy. You gonna keen our energy from the nasty yucky, from the sorcery. Oh, mama, see him pretty. Yeah, my sister's so pretty. Oh, look at mama's favorite boo boo with your boo boo. Oh, look at him, the most beautiful cat of the world. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Mama love this boo boo. Oh, look at him. You gaining weight, Cyrus? Huh? Cause I'm eating good. Huh? Good. I see. Okay. Yes, my cat is a distraction. Cause he's so cute. Him is just cute. Him is so cute. Him is so adorable. Oh, mama's cute. Oh, mama's yellow. Okay. So I'm going to end this live at 42 minutes and I'm going to refresh and clear and cleanse and have some energetic fun here in a second. And then I'll be back. I'll be front. I'll be left. I'll be right. I'll be north, south, east, west. I'll be here. I am manifest. I am pumpkin. I am present manifest.